Hey Harmonizers, in this video we have Felix, who is going to be stepping up to do some pretty big tasks today. He's going to come out and learn the big blue tarp. He's never seen a tarp this big. I don't even know if I've walked him over a regular tarp, but he is a superstar and I need him to fill in because Elysia is still not feeling her best. She had that stone bruise and then she was running around in the field eating the grass and ended up just coming up a little bit lame, so I want her to rest. But we need to practice our routine for California for the Western States Expo, which we're super excited for. So I thought, well, you know what, buddy, you get to come out and be part of this practice. So to help set him up for success, I just walked him over some of the obstacles from the ground first. It was kind of funny because he did the big ginormous tarp super easy, and then when it came to the little noodles that don't even have a lot of noodles in it, he hesitated a little bit longer and wasn't super sure about that. And I didn't want to take a lot of time to teach him every little piece of getting used to the obstacles, because this is more about us figuring out how to ride the routine that we want to ride, where we're going to go, things like that. So we just took out a bunch of the noodles, kept it really basic, so that way it's not so much about Felix and a little bit more about trying to figure out what we're going to do for a lot of these different tasks. Nonetheless, all the things we're going to do in this routine are going to be pretty challenging for Felix. I've worked on some things with him, but this is definitely taking it up to another level. First, we're starting off with this flag work where we're doing these synchronized swooshings of our flag, we'll call it. And he did that super amazing. Did not even blink, didn't move at all. He's going to get a cookie after doing each of these little pieces here as he's figuring out how to do all of this different stuff here. And then it comes into holding on to the tarp. And we haven't done anything like this. This is a really big ask of any horse, really, and considering how green Felix is in terms of how long we've had him and how long I've been working with him, this is definitely a tough thing to be asking him to do, but he's got such a great nature to him. He's naturally a little bit more brave and he's very, very trusting of me. He's really accepting of when I say, okay, let's try this. He's like, all right, if you say so, we'll give it a go. So it's not that he's oblivious to what's going on and he's just do whatever. He's aware and paying attention. He's just very trusting and accepting of the things that I'm asking him to do. So that's really nice to see that he's trusting me here. Doing this little tarp routine is super awesome. And then as we're coming around, Nova is getting to work on the pieces that she needs to learn because she's going to be the one doing the trotting and cantering in this circle part. So we started off with just doing the walk, make sure that Felix was doing well, and then later on we take it up into those faster speeds. And we're really going over where we're going to go. We're trying to see what looks neat. We're trying to see what flows. At this point, we still haven't put together our music, although we know we're going to be using things from how to train your or how to tame your dragon or how to train your dragon. And we're going to be dressing the horses up like dragons, but we haven't put together our actual songs yet. So first we're trying to figure out what flows as a routine of where do we go here and where do we go there. And we're trying to balance it out because the tarp, once you start moving it all around, it actually starts to catch a lot of air and it needs time to settle between different things that you do with it. So to start off with here, we were just running through the motions without anybody moving the tarp. And then after we finish running through the motions here, we're going to have our volunteers come out who are going to be moving the tarp. And we only had 2 volunteers with us this night. So that makes it a little bit easier on Felix because it's only going to be 2 people moving the tarp around rather than 1 person on each corner. So it'll be a little bit less intimidating. But the main thing is Franny and I are able to start to figure out what that routine is going to look like. Nova is able to get more trained on the tarp because remember she had only done this the first time previously when we did it walking with Elysia. And so now we're going to get to do this another time, start to add in more speed and just get more exposure because we want our horses to be super confident when we get to the expo. We want them to look like they've done it a million times, even though it won't be a million. We want it to look really relaxed for them. And we know that when we go to these expos, the energy's a lot higher. There's people in the crowds, there's cheering, and that can make your horses get a little bit more on edge. So if we start off with them super, super brave, that's going to really help them then be able to handle that extra level of pressure when we get there. So this is a little different view here. Now we've got our 2 volunteers that are going to be out helping with that big tarp. We'll add those pieces in, and we're just running through where we're going to be going. And they're coming over to get us the little tarp there. And you can see Felix is just doing a super awesome job. Like, he's being really patient, lets me take the big tarp here as we're going up. He's just being a total rock star. Remember, he's still a young horse that just turned 4 this year, that we only got earlier this year, and was barely started under saddle when we got him. So we've been doing most of all of his under saddle training ourselves and getting him going. He was quite green when we first got him. And then here I'm going to just speed up a lot of this footage and put it in double time for you guys, so you can still see what we're doing, but it just goes a little bit faster, because otherwise I know it takes a long time for us to go through all of this stuff. But I wanted you to see that how successful they were. So here doing the trotting, like even Felix did some trot with the tarp here. And adding speed to such a difficult element can be a really, really tricky thing. And there's a little bit of cookie giving down at the far end, which of course we won't be doing as part of our routine once we get everything all settled. But when we're training, of course, we want to have our horses getting rewards. We want them to know that this is a really happy routine. It's not super stressful. And that was the first time doing what we call the burrito, when you bring up your sides. I don't know why we call it a burrito. We should probably call it a taco, but you bring up the sides and you come in on it. And that was the first time. And Felix handled that really, really well, which was super awesome. And then here, because we only have our 2 helpers, we wanted to have them mostly focus on Nova rather than Felix. So she's going to come off and they're going to do the burrito part with Nova rather than with Felix. So he still sees it coming up behind him a little bit, but they're going to focus on training for her, because she's the one that's planning to go to California, versus Felix is just subbing in. I think if Elysia is not sound by the time we have to do health papers to go down, we might make a last minute decision to take Felix with us, but I definitely want to take Elysia with me. She's my superstar. She's experienced with all this, and Felix has never been anywhere with me at all, and that would be a really long trip to take him on. That'd be a really big ask for him to do. So I definitely am hoping that Elysia is going to be okay to come. She's my favorite girl for sure, so hopefully that will all work out. But Felix is here doing a great job subbing in. So we did a run through of most of the tarp pieces, and then we get to this jumping part here. And so when Felix goes over the jumping part, they just put it down mostly for him, whereas Nova's actually jumping, and Felix is greener to jumping. So I just thought, no point making it even harder on him. So we'll be keeping those really low for him. And we didn't want to drill our horses on the pattern. We're also doing this later at night, and we've got our 2 volunteers with us. So we basically, the first time we went through it with just the tarp on the ground. Second time, we did most of the routine with them moving it, but we didn't finish with what we call the wave, because then it takes a while to set the tarp back up to where it was. So then we did it a third time, where we run through all of the moves, including this part here at the end, which we call the wave. And it just takes a while to set up the tarp, so we just planned to do it once. But of course, if the horse was having trouble with it, we would repeat it another time, but ideally we just do it the one time. So I am over the moon impressed with Felix. I already knew he was a special guy. I already knew that he was really good at the obstacles and was going to be probably doing some special things in his future, because he just seems to be a really nice, easygoing nature. But definitely doing this practice helped me realize just how awesome he is, that he's able to do something like this with very little preparation. I honestly can't remember. I'm going to have to look through the old videos to see if we've ever done a tarp before, because I really don't even know if he'd ever done a tarp. I know we have done flag work and drag work and things like that, but I'm just not sure if we've even done tarps before. And then this is just taking it way beyond that, going way up in the air and coming up behind us, closing in on us. All of those things just makes it so much different and so much more special that he's able to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Felix stepping in, and you also get a little taste of what our freestyle routine is shaping up to be. And thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.